Hello, I'm Bret Moss, and you're watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. Our guest today is Robyn Busfield. Robyn is an author and a teacher who specializes in energy awareness as it relates to self-actualization. Robyn was raised in Sydney, Australia, and she now resides in Southern California, where she's lived for the last 10 years. Robyn Busfield, welcome back to The Defining Moment. It's really a pleasure for me to welcome you back to our studio.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Thanks for coming. Our topic today is harmonious living. And I'd like to begin by asking you to share a defining moment from your own life which gave you a new insight or new understanding about your own life.
Okay. So many years ago when I was living in Sydney, Australia, and I had been through some difficult times and was searching for more harmony, more peace in my life. And a girlfriend had given me 2 books, and one of them was called Shirley MacLaine, Out on a Limb. And the other one, I don't remember the name of the other one, but what happened was the Shirley MacLaine one, I read the back of it, and it was, all about spirituality. At that point in my life, I was in my late 20s, and I was actually kind of like, with the word spiritual. I remember reading the back of the book and going, I'm just going to give that back to my girlfriend once I've read this other book. I put it away on the shelf in my bedroom, and I think it was sitting there for about 6 months, and I had read the other book, and one day I was questioning life. I was questioning, the connections that we have, mental connections, emotional connections, physical connections. And then I began questioning the spiritual connection. And I was looking at my past relationships in my life and seeing connections that I'd had. And the spiritual connection was something that stood out to me. I had begun questioning gut feelings at that point in my life. And I started looking at the spiritual, thinking, well, what is the spiritual part of me? And I was wanting to understand it more. I was walking through my house, and I just walked into my bedroom casually. I was just kind of, pretty lost at this point in my life. So I'm just kind of sitting there questioning, the spirituality. And then all of a sudden, I was sitting on the side of my bed, and then my eyes went to this book, Shirley MacLaine's book, Out on a Limb, sitting in my cupboard, which I'd totally forgotten about and hadn't looked at it since I'd put it there. And something inside me said, pick the book up. I picked it up, I turned it over, and I read it, and I had a whole different experience reading it this time. Something inside me is like, yes, you need to read this book. You need to, this is something you need right now. And it was a whole different feeling to read about the word spiritual, and I just felt that there was a big message. So I read the book. Within a couple of weeks, I finished the book, and I began learning about the soul and understanding that there is indeed this other part of us, that this spiritual part of us that it lives on, and it's really is our truth. It really is who we are. Beyond the physical, we have this inner being, this core of us that connects to God. I like to say God, love energy, universal energy. And so I began to learn that there is this other part of me that I became very, very intrigued with. And anyway, as time went on, I began to study more about the soul and the connection that we have to the soul, the physical, the way that we connect to the soul, the way that we disconnect from the soul. And I began to learn that as I connected more to the soul on an ongoing basis, I was creating more harmony in my life. And I also learned how to then bring that toward my relationships.
Okay, great. So where does a person begin if they want to create more harmony in their surroundings?
As I look back at my previous relationships, I was pointing the finger, blaming, out there, thinking all the problems were outside of myself. And I came to learn that I needed to look within, and I needed to get to know me and get to understand who I was. And I came to understand that it's not about anybody else. It's really about me and what I'm bringing to the table. So in essence, it was all about learning to take responsibility for everything that's around me, all my relationships, at work, at home, at play. It's really important to understand that harmony does come from within. And also, in regard to energy awareness, we have the choice in every moment to choose from love or from fear. If we're choosing from fear, we're creating a disharmony within to occur. As we create that disharmony within, we're actually emanating this disharmony from our being, which is actually attracting a disharmony from those around us. When we connect to our soul, we're creating a harmony within. As we create the harmony within, we're attracting harmony from around us. In our energy fields, what happens as we move along in life and we journey, we go through relationships. Through each relationship that we leave, we actually take forward types of energies from those relationships based upon our awareness and our focus in the relationship. We can walk away from a relationship in victim mode and we can be pointing the finger at the other person in the relationship. As we do that, we're taking forward that energy with us, and that energy is a complaining energy, that victim mode energy. So we're pointing the finger, it's all about this person, not about me, so we're pointing the finger, we're in victim mode, and as we move forward in life, those energies are part of our energy field. And as we're complaining and still looking back and pointing the finger, what happens is, I like to call the people that push our buttons the button pushers. So we're pointing the finger at the button pushers, whether it be a past relationship, someone at the office, someone in the family, and we move forward, and what happens is our energy is in our energy field. So it's going to attract more button pushers. So the more we look back in victim mode and complain at things in our life, then the more that we're going to attract those same experiences again. So on the other hand, we can look back at a relationship, learn from it, grow from it, take responsibility for what we're evoking. Because if we've had a button pusher here, then we've had other button pushers in the past that we've complained about for another one to be here. So if we can look back at it and take responsibility for what we're attracting into our life, then we can move forward, and what we would have done was forgive and release, forgive the other person, forgive ourselves, because it's just that's the way life is, we take on these energies on board and we bring them forward with us. So what we want to do is learn how to release them, forgive the other person, forgive ourselves, and then we're in the moment of attracting, I like to call, love string pullers. So when we focus backward with love on relationships, or we're focusing in the present moment with love on our relationships, we're going to be attracting more loving relationships. Those energies of fear or energy of love come into our energy field, and then we bring them forward with us, and we're attracting button pushers or love string pullers. I like to say that when we're complaining about a button pusher, we might as well get a microphone and say, all button pushers, please come and push my buttons. Because really, in essence, that's what we're doing. Every time we complain, we're attracting more of the same, or we're evoking that energy from our loved ones. If we complain, we focus on something and point at the other person, and we're in victim mode, we're complaining, we're not taking responsibility. That's all the disharmony that we're creating in all our relationships. I used to think that it was romantic relationships that I wanted to focus on and create more harmony in. But over the years, as I've managed to create more harmony, it's in all relationships, at work, at home, at play. It doesn't matter. Relationships are all about relating and energy moving between each other. When we understand how we emanate energy from our energy field by choosing love or fear, then we understand how we're evoking energy, what we're giving out, we're attracting. When we can understand how we're evoking that energy from another person, then we can sit back and take responsibility. Say, okay, what in me is bringing this out of the other person?
Okay, excellent. Very fascinating what you've been sharing with us. Thank you so much. So you mentioned button pushers. How can viewing negative responses, which we receive from friends and loved ones, as a form of love, help us to foster greater harmony in our relationships?
Every time we receive a negative energy from another person, it's really a call for love. So when we can look beyond that and know that at the core of everything, of every emotion, of everything we share with another human being, everything negative is always coming from a call for love. Love is at the basis of everything. So keeping that in mind is always something that does help me, and to know that we all are one. We are all part of the same. So what would I do to someone else that I would not want done to myself? That's the first step I find that helps me. Then the second step is understanding how the energy is moving between people, how I'm emanating the energy, how this person's evoking the energy. In understanding how energy works helps me, and every time I have a conversation with someone, if there's something that I'm not liking, if there's something coming at me and it's a judgment, then I've got to look back at myself and say, what is in me that is evoking this? And what happens is at the basis of all, at the core of all judgment is self-judgment. Every time we have someone pointing the finger at us, then what happens is we've been pointing the finger at ourselves. Energy cannot come at us unless if it has commenced. Energy starts within. Every judgment about ourselves always comes from within about ourselves. So we're not feeling good about something, and other people read our energy. Other people can feel either how much we're loving ourselves, how much we're not loving ourselves. We're very good at reading energy in each other. We're all very able. And
this happens subconsciously, almost. In other words, it's not something we consciously think about.
Exactly. We're all intuitive creatures, and we all get a very good read when, sitting there listening to somebody else tell us something. We get a very good read on where the other person is really coming from, how they really feel. We're always showing others how we feel about ourselves. Everything that we do, every interaction we have is always coming back from the way we're feeling within. Everything is coming, from how we feel about ourselves. So when I'm seeing something come at me, I will look back and say, well, what's in me? Where am I judging myself there? Because I believe all judgment stems from a judgment on self. So if something's coming at me, I've initiated this somehow. And I believe that creating harmony, turning a negative into a positive, when we look at the other person and what they're bringing to the table, and knowing that we have a choice right now. We can be a victim, or we can take responsibility and we can forgive and move forward. As soon as something is being directed at us, when I know that it's initiated from myself, then I know the next step is to forgive the other person, forgive myself, and then I can move forward freely, let go, let God, and move forward freely into the next moment to be loving. If I choose not to do that, and I turn into victim mode and I complain, then what am I going to get tomorrow? More of the same thing. I'm going to get another button pusher. So, whichever way you want to look at it, if we look at it from a loving place, or from a place of, just understanding how energy moves and how energy works, we're not going to win if we're going to point the finger and be in victim mode and complain. We can't win. How can we win? The next day we're going to be in the same place with more button pushers in our surroundings. So that's not the answer. The answer is to find a place of love, letting go, letting God, forgiving, and moving forward and understanding that we're all part of the same. We're all in this together. We're all growing and learning along the way. Anything negative is always a call for love. And when we can understand that, and it's like, we have to take a step back and say, it's not worth it to complain, to judge. As I judge another, I'm judging myself. As I judge myself, I will be judged. And it's so true. And just understanding that really helps us to move forward, creating more harmony in all of our relationships every day.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you. Tell us about the types of energy that bring us into a natural state of harmony with self.
The first one is a peaceful state of harmony, and the other one is passionate state of harmony. Peaceful state of harmony is when we're relaxed, we're letting go in the moment, there's not a lot of passionate energy present, but we're in a state of harmony, we're balanced, we're joining with our soul, and we are connected, and we're in a peaceful state. So that's a peaceful state of harmony. The passionate state of harmony is when we're in our creative mode. We're feeling our desires, we know what we want, we're passionate, we're going after our dreams. That's our passionate state of harmony. They're the two types of harmony that we can how we connect with our soul. So we can be in a peaceful state of harmony, or we can be in a passionate state of harmony. They're both a positive energy that do connect us with our soul. anything other than that, is you've got the fear-related energies that are going to disconnect us from our soul. And anxiety, worry, complaining, anger, they're disconnected energies. So we want to be connected and feel good. So we're feeling good either in a peaceful state or we're feeling good in a passionate state.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think when people think about harmony, they think of something that's often elusive. They reach for it, but it often gets away from a person. So how can we generate or ongoingly create harmony in our lives?
I think that for the most part we're trying to give something when we don't have it. If our cup of love is not full and we're trying to continually give in our life to our loved ones, and the cup gets emptier. Every time we give, it gets a little emptier. So when we're out there giving continually and we're not giving to ourselves, our cup cannot be replenished. The love cannot be replenished in the cup. So what we want to do is take a look back at ourselves, nurture our own energy, give to ourselves. Acts of self-kindness a few times a week, doing things that we love to do, nurturing our energy, and just making sure that we're feeling good within, so we really have something to give our loved ones. What happens is when our cup is, nearing empty, and, someone else is like, well, I want you to do this for me. Can you give me this? Come here and do this. And we're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing it, but I should make them happy. I should give this to them. And our cup's near empty. So what happens is then we want to make other people happy. So we want to give, continually give. And then what happens is the cup, when it's emptying, what are we giving to them really? The dregs from the bottom of the cup. At that point, what are we giving to ourselves? The dregs from the bottom of the cup. We have to take time out to really take time out and nurture our energy and say, what can I do for me now that's going to make me feel good? How can I take care of myself? Go and do acts of self-kindness. It's really important to continually keep our cup full. So when our cup is full, and what happens is then it's overflowing. So the people that we love are going to be receiving the overflowing of the cup, which wouldn't they prefer to receive the overflowing of the cup rather than the dregs from the bottom of the cup? So, in essence, we're doing it backwards. We're giving, trying to make other people happy, and we forget about ourselves in the process. We forget how important it is to keep our cup full. And when the cup's overflowing, it's so natural. It feels so easy. There's no struggling to try and give, no trying. It just naturally just happens. And people want to be around us when our cup's overflowing. Whatever you enjoy to do that makes you feel good is filling your cup. And then over here, this is feeling good too, but again, it's giving. The passionate energy is always like, it's like the energy's going out. And over here, the peaceful, it's coming back in. So we've got to take time out and keep that cup full.
Okay, and what are the biggest threats to maintaining a harmonious life?
The biggest threats? Mm-hmm. I think that it's just, being able to say no when you need to. Listening to our soul will guide us. Our soul tells us, okay, it's good to go out here and give right now. Give your energy, and everyone's going to love it. This is going to be great interaction. Your soul will tell you. When someone's asking you to do something or needing something and it doesn't feel right, it's because you don't really have that energy to give. And then your soul's, we can listen, we can hear it. Within our soul will guide us to, come over here, we need some time out right now and, and rejuvenate.
How does our ego get in the way of being able to nurture harmonious relationships?
Our ego is anything less than love. So every time we make a choice that's not loving, then what we're doing is we're also choosing to draw on energies that are lesser than loving in our loved ones. So our ego gets in the way because as soon as we make a choice less than love, we're actually making a choice in essence for our loved ones as well, because we're looking at evoking the negative energies all around. So ego, what we want to do is we want to really learn how to release the ego for good. It is work to release the ego and to move into our pure, natural, loving state, that pure connection.
Where does a person begin to release their ego?
Well, first of all, being very aware of our thoughts, being very aware of where our focus is throughout the day. As we're, say, in conversation with others and we're focusing on something that doesn't feel good, and we're not addressing that, we're not letting God in the moment, and we're allowing those thoughts to continue, we're continually miscreating. And anytime we're not feeling good in the moment, we're miscreating, and the ego is in play, not God, it's the ego. So what we want to do is learn how to release those thoughts. So being aware of them, and what I do to become more aware of my thoughts is I simply ask to be more aware of my thoughts throughout the day. I ask to be more aware of when I'm disconnecting. And as I'm more aware, become more aware of it, I become better at letting go, letting God, letting go, letting God. It's a continual, it's work, and it is continual. Throughout a lifetime, we've been very unaware of what we're focusing on, what we're creating or miscreating in each moment. We've been very, we haven't been aware, and now we need to be aware. So to be aware means that we have to turn back within and say, what is it in me? What is bringing these thoughts forward? Meditation is very helpful. Meditating each morning for 15, 20 minutes can help to us to connect on an ongoing basis with our soul. Help us to remind us how important it is to stay connected, and to release our thinking. In meditation, for us to connect fully with our soul, we do need to continually release our thoughts.
How does self-respect relate to living in harmony?
Until we have self-respect, it's not so easy to implement boundaries, because we have to, self-respect is really feeling good about oneself, knowing that we deserve to be happy, knowing that we deserve to feel good. Self-respect and boundaries really go hand in hand, equals self-love. When self-respect is present, then we're able to not only have respect here, but we're able to also offer respect to our loved ones around us. And it is really important to be able to give and receive respect within a relationship. If respect isn't present, then we're, by either party, there's a lack of self-love present, which means, obviously when love is lacking in a relationship, then there's lack of harmony in a relationship. So self-respect is really important, I believe, in all of our relationships, at work, at home, at play, but it always starts with self. It's not so easy to give respect and have respect for another if we're not feeling respect here. It does start within. We need to have self-respect, which then initiates respect all around to everyone around us.
Okay, and how can we strengthen or create self-respect when we realize that it's not present? When there is a lack of self-respect, where does a person start?
There was a time in my life when I hit rock bottom, and I really didn't like myself. Lack of self-respect, lack of self-love, no boundaries in place. I didn't feel good on a daily basis. I'd wake up and I'd be like, I'd be searching, I'd be wanting. I had felt good prior to this time in my life, so I knew I'd had self-love in the past. I knew how good it felt, and I wanted that back. I think being conscious of it, knowing that you do want to feel better, knowing you want to connect with that good feeling inside, it's getting passionate about wanting it back again. It's asking, and it's really, it's not something that we can consciously shift overnight. It's becoming aware, and it's allowing our soul to guide us within, guide us to do things that are going to help us to feel better about ourselves. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. Every time something's missing for me, and I desire something in my life, I come back to ask, and you will receive. And I ask. I simply pray, simply ask. I put it out there. I know I have this inner connection within me. My soul is connected to all that is, to universal knowledge. And it's so important to know that we do have the answers within. We have this connection to God love energy, as I like to call it, universal knowledge. We have this connection, and it's so important to understand how to listen to that and be guided, get back within to where the true answers come. Because lack of self-love is something that You know, you don't go from lack of self-love one day to a cup full and overflowing and full of self-love the next day. It doesn't happen that way. It takes time. When we lose part of ourselves, we've got to regain that part of ourselves. And we need guidance to do that. We need to go back within and to follow the guidance from our soul. We may be guided to a book. We may be guided to, you know, to new people in our life that are going to show us the way, and we're going to learn from. As soon as you ask, as soon as we say, I desire to feel better about me, I want to feel self-love, I want to feel fulfilled within every day, I want to be able to naturally give to all those around me all the love, I don't want to feel like this anymore, I want to feel wonderful. As soon as we say that, we're asking, we're putting it out there, it's coming, it's on its way. I know we're in a doing world, you know, in society we feel like we have to do something, we've got to go do this, and I've got to get my self-respect back. You know, I mean, today if I want something, I'm not going to try and make it happen in my life today. I just rest into the harmony, into the peace of knowing that it's going to happen. It'll happen tomorrow or the next day or next week, but hey, you know, it feels good to know that there is this friend within that's guiding me, and that I know is going to take me to the right places. And sometimes all of a sudden it's like, oh, I feel really good today, you know, and it's like, well, I don't really know what happened yesterday, but something's happened here along the way where I've been guided to new people, new events, new places, new things in my life, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know, life is different. Life is different because as soon as we make that choice and ask for peace or harmony, ask to feel better, ask to feel self-love, as soon as we make that choice, we go off in a different direction. We're guided in a different direction. And you know, it will come to us. It has to. Every time we ask, as long as we let go and give it up, it's hanging on to it and struggling and trying that prevents it from coming in. That's why, you know, you hear time and time again people say, well, as soon as I stopped trying, as soon as I let go, it just happened.
Yeah.
And I think we need to have a lot of faith in that. Ask and you shall receive. It's written in the universe.
Okay, well, it's very clear from your sharing that that's a fundamental part of your belief system, if I can say that, in that that's really a universal principle that you have demonstrated in your lifetime and time again. A lot of the concepts that we've been talking about today are in your book, which is about self-actualization. It's Time to Get Selfish, and it's available on the internet. You can order it on the internet. Where can people find your website?
The website is www.itstimetogетselfish.com.
Okay, great. And so, Robyn, I want to thank you so much for your time today, for sharing from your wisdom and your experience with our audience. So we really appreciate you sharing what you shared with us today.
Thank you, Bret.
Thank you so much. You've been watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. You can find us on the internet at www.definingmoment.tv. Thanks for watching and have a great day.